If I can connect with people, help them feel at ease, then we all win.
Holly Mabry is the Chief Brokerage Officer at eXp Realty, a leader whose vision has helped transform how real estate professionals build, scale, and thrive.
These people I know, loved, and trusted were telling me no. That's hard.
If you could give one piece of advice to our agents, what would that piece of advice be?
I think that is take everything in 30-day cycles. And so focus on that one thing that you are going to implement in your business. Unapologetically yourself always.
With a reputation for strategic thinking and relentless focus, she's been at the forefront of change in one of the fastest growing brokerages in the world.
What do you think your X factor is?
My X factor is I'm just myself in every situation. And if I can't be myself, then I probably shouldn't be in the room.
She doesn't follow trends, she creates them. Holly, welcome to X Factor Marketing. Thank you so much for joining us.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, we're going to jump in. I normally save this question for the end, but I want to start with this one with you. What do you think your X factor is? I know. We're doing hard right out of the gate. Coming in hot for this one, Holly.
You know what? I think that my X factor is I'm just myself in every situation. And if I can't be myself, then I probably shouldn't be in the room.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And yourself is pretty amazing.
Well, that's the thing. If I can connect with people and help them feel at ease, then we all win, right? But if that's how I want to come from a place of contribution and service, so that, yeah, I guess that would be my X factor.
Yeah, that is your X factor. And I tell people this because I've had the privilege of working with you now for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And you have this amazing ability of oftentimes delivering sometimes challenging news to people and not always what they want to hear, but you do it in a way that makes them feel like they're getting a hug while getting a kick in the butt sometimes at the same time, which is tremendous.
But if you love people, wouldn't you want that?
Yes.
Right? Like when I think that's the thing, I've always learned, and I blame my grandmother for this, that if you truly care about somebody, you're going to show up in such a way how they need you to, but you're always going to be able to tell them the truth through that. But do it in kindness, do it in love, help them grow. And sometimes it's received that way and sometimes it's not. And okay.
Yeah. Well, you do a tremendous job at it. Okay, so let's maybe we should back up here. Let's tell the listeners who you are and what you do.
I'm Holly Mabry, and I am the Chief Brokerage Officer for eXp Realty in the United States.
Awesome. And recently appointed Chief Brokerage Officer. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm wildly excited and certain amount of nerves that go with that for sure.
Well, so deserved. And you've been with eXp 8 years?
8 years, yeah, since 2018. So very, very cool. It's the coolest ride, Wendy. When I think about joining this company and the invitation was just like, hey, do you want to do this thing? And I'm like, gosh, why wouldn't I? 11,000 agents. I get to
when I
joined, and I get to come in and I get to be the broker for Arizona. And I love being a broker. I love helping agents build their business and get out of hot water and solve problems and all of those things.
Agents never get in hot water.
Like everything, it's just like butter out there, right? And so to be able to do that and do it and live where I get to live, how lovely. And so it just seemed like the right thing to do at the right time. And it was a bit of a risk, but I think it's definitely paid off.
It's definitely paid off. And I mean, just the change that you have seen, not only in eXp, but in the industry. And I want to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about your just story in the real estate industry before eXp, because I think that is such a amazing arc, just that path of leadership that you've had.
I love this industry. So my grandparents were actually in real estate in the Verde Valley back in the 70s. And my uncle got in. My dad is an attorney that specialized helping people in real estate, water law, all of that. I went to college to be in radio. And radio is a wonderful habit unless you are Howard Stern. It does not pay. And so I had the opportunity right out of college to join my uncle's brokerage, and I took advantage of that. And got started in Cottonwood, loved it, but I loved getting involved. And it was really interesting being from a small town, being the youngest person, in the office by a long ways, and then really trying to build a business. I had to travel to Phoenix. I decided to get more involved in the state association, and then that led to national. But what was interesting is all along the way, I was told, well, you may not be aware just because you're from a small brokerage, or you may not know these things, or, what have you. And so it was very interesting. So rather than taking the no, it was like, nah, I'm going to be so good you can't ignore me.
Yes.
And that's been my whole mantra. I'm going to be so good you can't ignore me in everything that I do. And so how do I learn as much as I can and be of service and bring that back? How do I become a tremendous educator? And so I started teaching national classes and designations, and helped develop the leadership training academy for the Arizona Realtors. Doing all of those things has led me here today with EXP, and I'm so grateful, like so crazy grateful.
We are crazy grateful. And all of us have somehow navigated through our careers, right? We've had various chapters, but we found ourselves sort of together in this moment.
Yeah.
And we have this commonality. Glenn, Leo, you, myself, there's several others that started in the industry, right out of college, in our 20s at a young age, and have just lived and breathed this industry for decades now. And here we are, in this moment of, I would say, tremendous change and a tremendous pivot that the industry is going through here at EXP, who has a company, we are at the forefront of all of it. And I think that, I speak for all of us when I say how excited we are, right? Or for this opportunity that we have.
I think when you can look at I've been in the business 27 years, and I think you've been right there on a yes.
Don't date now.
Then at 12, but whatever.
So when y'all just started young.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the point. That was the point I was making. Yeah, started young.
Sure, so young. What I look at, and if you look at the change that we've endured, just look at the last 5 years. We had COVID, we had the market shifts, we had, what makes change in the industry, and then you throw in all the lawsuits.
Yes.
And the technical advances, and now what AI can do for just the average person who is not used to writing code. Before, you had to be able to have that knowledge. Oh my gosh. And so we've been on this hyperloop of what's possible, but at the center of this, the consumer hasn't changed. They need a trusted advisor through each step of the process. Now, they have more data and information available.
Yeah.
Thank you, the internet. Thank you, now AI. How we adapt and guide them through has not changed. Our emotional intelligence has to be higher now than ever.
Yes.
And that's what I love EXP for. Because when I look at you, I look at Leo, I look at Glenn, that ability to relate to people and break it down in such a way that becomes meaningful and actually drives them forward to what's possible. I'm not seeing any other company do that as well as we've been able to. And that's where I think we are very well poised for what's next.
Yes. That the empathy of that human intelligence with the AI or the, machine, intelligence, whatever that format looks like, is a powerful combination. And the companies and the communities that harness that will definitely excel. And I think that has been a huge focus for all of us. So it's definitely an exciting time.
Well, so go back to 2008, right? We had call it the dark times. How many kitchen tables did you and I sit at with people who were trying to figure out the best path forward for their family? And we were talking foreclosure, we were talking short sale, and there were tears. But those moments prepared us for the use of AI now, because at the end of the day, how we take care of the consumer doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's that heart-to-heart connection. And so that continued how we listen, what it looks like, and how we drive that forward. So that's what I'm so excited for. And I look at 2026, how we go forward in embracing what's available technology-wise propels us, but how we show up based on everything we've done since 2008 and before, that's the game changer.
Yes, yes. I want to go back to a little bit of your origin story that you shared. So that underdog, that I'm going to outwork, I'm going to outlearn. I think especially as a female in leadership, I mean, I went through that. I go through that. I don't think we ever outgrow that, right? As women in leadership. And even though we've hit the proverbial C-level titles that, we aspire to, is, the cliche phrase of climbing the corporate ladder, whatever that means in today's world. What challenges have you faced as a leader over the years in your career, and how have you sort of navigated through those?
It's been interesting because I've had people very close to me tell me, "Oh gosh, you shouldn't do that. That's not good for you."
Mm-hmm.
And it really took those moments of discernment. These people I know, loved, and trusted were telling me no, and that's hard.
No, in terms of you'll never do that, or you're reaching
too far. You shouldn't do that. That's not good for the family. That's not good for and so as a result, it became one of those where it's like, what is my true North Star? What is the right thing that I believe in my core that I should continue forward on? And so who are the people that I'm going to surround myself with? And I have a very close kitchen cabinet, right? Like that kitchen cabinet of people that are your constant cheerleaders.
I love that. The kitchen cabinet.
Yeah.
That phrase.
Yeah. These are the people you want at your dining room table that you're always having consult with. And I feel so fortunate to rely on them. And we may not get to talk. I haven't seen one of them for, a year. But we have those conversations frequently. And I think that as a woman in leadership, it's very easy to be able to be told no.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to be pitted against somebody else.
Yes.
And that's terrible.
Yes. Especially another woman.
Oh, it's always another woman.
Yes.
Which is not okay.
Yes.
And
how do we change that?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think one, you and I build a bigger table. Like when somebody comes to us and says, "Hey, how do I?" Great. What do you want to learn?
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure this out together. And my goal has always been with the team that I get to work with is, all right, how do we build a bigger boat? What do you need? What would you like to learn? I may not have the skill set to teach you that. Cool. Let's go find that person.
Yes.
And what do you want to be exposed to? What are your hopes and goals? Because if I focus on that, I can help them grow. And I know you've done that. I've seen you do that with people in our company as a champion. And I think that that's how we break that mold.
Yes.
I believe in ripples in a pond, right? That idea of just a pebble. I don't have to make big waves. I'm going to be a ripple. And if I can do those things, that's how we change.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think it is changing, but I think it is not changing fast enough.
Let's be clear. For you and I, it will never be fast enough. The right thing never comes fast enough. But if we create that foundation, that's the opportunity. And so sometimes we build, we plant the trees for the people of the future, not for the shade of today.
Well said. Well, we're definitely building those tables. And I'm so glad we're building them together.
Right? That's what I love. And I think that's what's so great in this industry. We've always been communal in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
We may not be at the same brokerage. There are other people that I have that are in different brokerages, but like the table's the same. How do we champion each other? What do you need? What am I learning? How can we grow from each other?
Yes.
Right? We may be competitors, but it doesn't mean we have to be disagreeable. And I love that about our industry.
Yeah, it is great about our industry. And you have been a great champion through your involvement in the industry, through the National Association of Realtors, through the State Association. You've always been very involved, which thank you for that, because that is important for our industry. And now it's important for our brokerage. And even more important now than I think ever before. So why has that always been so important for you to be involved?
It's funny going back to being from a small community, being from a small office, we didn't have a seat at the table. And decisions were being made that were impacting the people I loved in this office that I worked in. And that wasn't fair. And so how do I make that change?
Right.
And so why not, instead of complaining about it, I decided to get my car and drive to Phoenix and serve on a government affairs committee and bring water rights to the forefront and serve on forms committees because I didn't agree with how some of the forms were being written.
Because we can make a difference, right?
100%.
So you're listening to this, get involved. You can make a difference.
Yes, it's amazing. So what I found, and my favorite thing to tell people is when you are asked, say yes. Especially when you feel unprepared.
Yes.
That's the key. When you feel unprepared, you've got to say yes, because that door that opens, it's amazing when you walk through what's on the other side. It's put me in positions where, like, I've testified before Congress. I was not prepared.
How do you get prepared?
I don't know. I was up all night. I had 5 minutes. I had 30 minutes of material that I got done to 5
Oh my
minutes.
God.
It was insanity. But I did it. It went well, and we defeated the bill that was on the deck. And so that was so huge because it would have impacted our small community. And so I look at that and I'm so proud. And it's because somebody said, "Hey, do you want it?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yes.
I don't know how to do this. No, there was no roadmap to, a realtor from my area to go testify before Congress without any support. Okay.
But you said yes.
Always.
Always say yes.
Always.
All right. So what are some of the big things in the industry that you are watching now and that you are, I say, focused on and concerned about? We'll balance the two things out.
Sure. I think with the industry, I'm most focused on how agents adapt to the changes that are coming. And the changes are going to come in two fronts. They're going to come from the form of legal, right? Whether it's lawsuit or something like that, like we saw in 2024 with the buyer broker being required by everybody. Okay, fine. I think that we will see more legal kind of stipulations that come forward. The other thing that I anticipate is we will see actually regulation come down likely from the state level. And we've already seen, different states pass laws with regard to the buyer broker, but I anticipate more. So most recently, we had this huge kerfuffle, if you will.
Kerfuffle is an interesting. Yeah, I
like to use kerfuffle around, disclosing referrals.
Yes.
Okay, great. We went ahead as a company and made the decision. We are going to disclose when we receive a client through the nature of a referral from another agent, and we're going to pay money to that other agent. We're going to, share part of our compensation. And we just want to put that in writing to the client, how much we're doing. And
full transparency, upfront.
It's a win-win. For sure. Well, what's so interesting is now there are certain states who are pursuing that legislatively.
Okay.
And so I'm proud that we got ahead of that. But to think that lawmakers want to insert themselves into the industry, what I've always learned is never go to a legislature asking for something as a law, because you'll get more than you asked for. And what I've loved about our industry is we typically governed ourselves reasonably well, right? We were able to self-correct. But anymore, that's shifting. We're seeing a lot, whether it's the DOJ or national, definitely state. I think we're going to see a lot of action by real estate governance. And what I mean by that is the Department of Real estate commissions, things like that. They're trying to be much more proactive. And so as a company, I know that is very much on my forefront. How can we be in good partnership? They are governing us. Great. We are going to be the poster child for doing things well. And that's my goal as I go into this next year. I think at the end of the day, How do you take care of the consumer?
Yes.
Because that's all that matters.
That is all.
Don't take care of the consumer, you don't get to stay in this business because you're not getting paid.
Yeah. And I cannot underscore the value of having you and your team thinking about all of these things for our company and for all of our agents across the country so that they can go out and take care of their customers and know that you are proactively thinking about, well, what is the next form we should be thinking about? What is the next sort of policy that we should be like looking around the corner of? And, I think that a lot of small brokerages and just practitioners out there that don't have that benefit, I worry about them. I worry about those people in our industry and how they will be impacted by not having a Holly in their corner. I really worry about that a lot.
Same. And that's why I had gotten so involved with the local and state and the national association. And what has been a shift the last few years is the association is definitely going through some substantial seismic changes. Okay. Some are due, some are self-imposed. They just did it. And others, it's like, come on, guys, I need you here. I think that as a brokerage, if we can learn what we can learn, be proactive, like we've done with our forms, and we're going to continue to give those away. We really want to make sure that we're proactively helping the industry stay better, because I always believed if I was the best I could possibly be on my side of the transaction, I made it easier for you. And that was a win for my client.
Yes.
I was good to work with. I got more deals because you were willing to bring me an offer, because it's like, oh, it's Holly. We know we're going to get this through.
Yes.
And that's what I want for our agents. If I can be proactive in that way for our agents, we all win.
And don't we all love hearing that when somebody says, oh, I did a deal with an EXP agent and it was a great deal. They were a great agent. And our teams who support our EXP agents, I mean, that's what we're working towards, right? Is supporting our agents so that they can have those great deals.
If we can give our agents like the toolkits that we've put together as a company, the forums, the resources, everything that we continue to build, I believe that's at the crux of what we can do to help our agents. Like if they're head to head with somebody else, they get chosen over somebody else.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that for our agents.
Yeah, me too. All right, I want to shift gears a little bit, because as fun as it is to work with Holly, the non-work Holly has a lot of fun. And one of the things that I love that you are fascinated with is the Volkswagen bug.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. How do you get into that hobby? And like, just tell us about that.
I think you marry into it.
Okay, that works.
Yeah. My dad had a bug growing up, so that was fantastic. But my wife, Jen, when we first met, had a bay window bus. And okay, great. And like all couples do when they're getting together, like the bus had to go because we needed carpet and blah, blah, blah. And so we made a deal one day because she's like, I want. I'm like, great. I've put aside $5,000. If you can find a pre-69 bus, 69 or older, for $5,000 or less, great. 2 weeks. It took her 2 weeks to find this car. Found it in Buckeye. We drove to Buckeye. We made a deal. It was fantastic. And so, we refurbished this 69 bus. We had already found a 68 Beetle that we completely redid over COVID and gave to our son when he turned 18. And I told her after the bus, I said, okay, I want a thing, which are the crazy military looking. And
I want a thing.
It's a Type 181 and it's a convertible and it's sunshine yellow. And we drove to California for
That's amazing.
And so, we do all these VW events. We started a VW club in our local town, and
that's awesome.
We're those people that do things, and I love.
Do they have names?
So no, and that's where I struggle. Like,
They should have names.
I know. I keep, so, you got to feel it, right? I'm close to Sedona. And so I'll go in and I'll do for a ride in the thing. And I'm like, are you a Steve?
Thing is a name, by the way. Thing is a name.
Thing. Well, everybody goes, what are you driving? I'm like, the Thing. And they're like,
Sorry, what kind is that?
it is kind of a name, but I asked it if it wants to be called Stevie. And that's kind of I feel like that's where we're headed. So we'll see.
Are there additional members of this family that you're creating? MEW family.
Yeah.
Right?
We've got a whole bunch of friends up in the Verde Valley. And so we did the Christmas light parade with we had 15 cars, which is fantastic. And
That's
Buses by the Bridge is coming, which is the biggest bus event in North America. 500 people camping out at Lake Havasu. So
That's awesome, Holly. That's so great.
when in doubt, we're probably cruising around northern Arizona in our Volkswagens.
Very cool. That is super cool. And when you're not doing that, we can find you on a bike,
We mountain bike.
mountain biking, through the mountains, huh?
Yeah, we mountain bike. We just got our e-bikes, which I'm in love with.
Nice.
Because we can ride those to Old Town, and there's a lot of hills in my area, so getting home is a little bit easier now.
Well, the e-bike will help with
Yeah,
that. But
Pro e-bike right now. And then I've got chickens. I love my girls.
girls,
Yeah, they're all,
they have names, right?
of course,
They have names.
they all have names, and
The motorized,
doesn't, but
things didn't get names, but the chickens got names.
absolutely. So
There you
you
go.
go out and hang out with Rosie and Dolly and Pants, and life is good.
Awesome. Holly, to close it up, if you could give one piece of advice to our agents, what would that piece of advice be?
I think that is take everything in 30-day cycles.
Okay.
And so focus on that one thing that you are going to implement in your business and go after it with the passion and fever that is you. And then after that 30 days, it's amazing how that just becomes routine for you. But if it's not passion here, it will never be passion as you meet a client. So be unapologetically yourself always.
Great advice. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, friend.